And I just want to say your name alone, it shakes Browns. Like, I'm gonna be so for real. Like, if you're like, oh, I know Alexis May, like I'm in her agency, they're gonna be like, yeah, oh, okay, let's go.
Is that what
So
you did?
yeah.
Oh, stop. Well, congratulations, first of all, on your very first milestone as a remote closer. This is absolutely huge. I would honestly say, as a remote closer, the hardest part about getting into the space is landing a client. But then once you've landed that client, it literally is just all like uphill from there. So, congratulations, that's
Thank
major.
you.
I have a couple of questions for you just because I want to kind of like get to know you as an individual, get to know like your story, what even made you look into remote closing. And then after that, any questions it is that you have for me, I would love to be able to prepare you as much as I can because now that you have landed a client, you just unlocked the next door. And now it's time for you to actually start making money. So if you could start off, Zoe, tell us like a little bit more about yourself. Where are you from? What were you doing before remote closing? Or even if you are still currently like working your job or whatever it may be, but what were you doing before you found Her Last Call Academy?
So I was already doing sales, but it wasn't like high ticket or anything. I've been doing sales for like about 3 years, fairly. I used to work for a car company, but then it just like the hours weren't equating with like how much I was making. It wasn't like making any sense because I would make a lot of sales and they don't pay like percentage. Like they used to pay according to like maybe you make a sale, you get like $3. So
Car sales?
no, no, not car sales. I worked for a car company. I sold like their safety features for like their plans.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, for GM.
okay.
So basically, it wasn't just making any sense. I first of all started with digital marketing and like MRR, realized that was a
Mhm.
scam. So I skipped on to, and then I think I saw your TikTok on my page. I was like, God, this has to be like fate or something because it kind of makes sense because it aligns with what I'm doing and it sounds like an actual like it's a job, but like it's not like a 9 to 5 job. It's an
Right.
actual thing. So I started looking into it. I first of all went with a different agency.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it was like guaranteed placement, but I didn't get placed for a while. So I got an offer from them. I didn't take it, but then the rest of them they were bringing to me wasn't like remote closing. It was like regular sales. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get out of regular sales. So I was like, no, I joined HLC because I knew that like when the new year came around, like things were gonna change up. So I had to like get in before anything changed. So like,
Uh,
okay, let me put my foot on this. And then, like, literally 2 weeks after I joined HLC, mind you, I was in that other agency for like about, I joined in early October. And then I joined HLC in December and I didn't have an offer. And then I joined HLC in December. I got an offer the second week of December. And then I kind of left that offer that I got. It wasn't a bad offer at all. I was on an offer with her, but then I left the offer and now I'm on a different offer with KT. So,
oh, okay. I
yeah.
know him.
Yeah, I'm starting like next or tomorrow actually, so I'm pretty excited.
Uh-huh. That is huge. Okay, wait. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So you were a part of another remote closing agency and they guaranteed you placement, but then they were just like throwing you a bunch of BS offers.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to stay there for a second because this happens so much in the remote high ticket sales space. So many of these academies and agencies guarantee you placement. And you know, at HLC, we hate that word. We hate guaranteed anything. So that's insane. You were with them in October and they were just kind of giving you like the runaround. Like you weren't really getting what you were promised.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't want to say it's their fault because I'd say they're still pretty good. I still like talk to them because sometimes if I want like some one-on-ones, they are amazing.
Okay.
But I think it was just a lot of money wasted for not equal to the value because like the offers, like I'm gonna tell it's 10K to get into that.
Oh, I think I already know which offer you're talking about.
Oh my God. So yeah, it was 10K and I was like, no, this is actually crazy.
I know which offer you're talking about.
Yeah.
But no, it's okay. We won't say like any names or anything like that. So now you've been a part of HLC since December. Within 2 weeks of being a part of Her Last Call Academy, you landed your client. So that's everybody's like number one question is how did you land your client?
So first of all, when I was at the other agency, I was just looking for how to like do outreach in general because I didn't really know how to do that. They don't teach that because they would tell you, oh, you're gonna get guaranteed placement. So when I got into HLC, I was just reaching out to like very random like influencers and I really wanted to do Amazon FBA because yeah, I just really, really wanted to do that. And it was either like fitness or Amazon FBA. Like that was my thing. I didn't mind like any other offers, but it was between those two for me. And then when I got in and I was like, okay, they teach you how to reach out. So I started doing my outreach. I started like asking, oh, what do you guys prefer? I remember asking Danny, like, do you think I should send an email? Do you think I should send like an Instagram DM? I sent a couple. I didn't even send that much, honestly. And
Huh.
then I got like responses like really fast.
You did
So
the outreach method?
yeah, the video outreach.
Lovely.
Yeah. And as for the offer that I'm going to, I just sent the text that you guys like the script that you guys gave me, kind of changed it a bit. And then yeah, that was it for the second offer.
Okay. So you are literally like the epitome of follow the directions, trust the process, it will happen. Because you did the outreach method, you did the video, you did the script with obviously edits according to your own like skill set, and you landed a client. And I'm gonna tell you right now, your client is super good. Like you are really, really going to be able to make a good amount of money there. And I know this because we know him personally. Obviously, like I am also on an Amazon offer. So literally like my script you can use to a T. Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. And I just want to say your name alone, it shakes Browns. Like I'm gonna be so for real. Like if you're like, oh, I know Alexis May, like I'm in her agency, they're gonna be like, yeah, oh, okay, let's go.
Is that what
So
you did?
yeah.
Oh, snap.
Because like I'm truly invested in this. I think that's another thing as well, that if you really want to get into this, you have to be invested. It's not about just like, oh, I want to make a couple bucks a month. Like you have to be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna set some times to take calls, not like 2 hours a day, but like be invested truly in it. And I
Yeah.
think that's where I am right now.
Well, hey, I can tell you right now, like that 10K a month is going to be so easy for you, especially with KT's offer. So backtrack a little bit. I like how you said if you are looking to get into this space, you really do have to be invested. Can you expand a little more on that? Like, are you referring to like time? Are you referring to like skill set? What exactly are you referring to?
I feel like I'm referring to everything in general. First of all, you have to be willing to invest like money into yourself because no one's going to take you if you haven't been trained. Like no one's going to take you if you haven't like invested to know how to take sales calls. Like if you don't
Right.
know the common procedure, like who's going to get you on an offer in the
Yeah.
first place? And secondly, you have to be able to invest time because as you're learning, you have to have time to learn and you have to also put time into like taking calls if you want to work full time, if you want to work part time. If you're worrying about how you're going to balance like your life with closing, that's why people get into this in the first place. If like
Right.
that's your biggest concern, then maybe it's not for you. Like if you're not ready to pour everything into this has been my life for like the past couple of months. That's pretty much what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no, I agree because especially in the very, very beginning, I think you literally have to go like balls to walls with this. And then after that, like once you have gotten the close down, you've gotten your rhythm down, then from there you can kind of like go and travel and take sales calls at the same time. But I remember like my first year closing, I was at home just closing, closing, closing. And then once I got like comfortable, obviously, then I started taking like sales calls in public because after that I was like, yeah, this is literally like freaking
Your life. Yeah.
riding a bike to me. So no, I like that you say that because that is true. I think a lot of times, whenever people talk about like remote closing, we kind of just like emphasize and highlight the, oh yeah, you can go do this with it, you can go do this. But in the very beginning, it's going to take like
A lot
that.
more.
Yeah, it is going to take that like freaking monk mode energy. So I like that you say that because you're very transparent. And then also whenever you mention like, yeah, you do have to invest money into yourself because why would a client or a course creator hire you if you didn't invest in yourself to buy a course, right? Because you're selling their course and you've never invested in yourself and bought a course, it's going to be harder for you to sell. Of course, you know Myron Golden, but he's one of like these major, major influencers in the course creating space. And he even said to be a better salesperson, you have to be a better buyer. And I was like, wow, that makes so much sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, because then if you're a better buyer, you know why you're buying, you understand like the psychology behind it. So you know what it's going to take to get somebody else to buy from you.
Yeah. When you've been on a sales call as a prospect, it kind of helps you a lot to like learn in general.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that kind of leads back to what you're saying, because if you've never been on the other end it's kind of hard for you like understand like what's going on, like how the transaction's gonna happen. So yeah, I remember being on a call with a different guy, shitty offer by the way, it was a digital marketing offer. He sold me, honest, I'm not gonna lie. He sold me.
It's okay.
I had like a partner objection and everything. If I could still go back and listen to that call, because I know I was probably a shitty client, like I was a very shitty prospect. Like I wouldn't want me as a prospect, but I would love to go back and listen to that call if I could.
That is so funny because we actually have a girl like inside of HLC that I cracked on our $20,000 offer, and now she's in HLC.
Yeah, I saw that on one of the lives. I'm like, what?
It's just so funny because, yeah, like you said, when you're the buyer and you're on that side of like the line, and then once you realize like all that, like the sales tactics, you're like, whoa, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. Okay. So I guess like another question that like I have for you is what advice could you give somebody that is looking to just make money online? Like let's say they don't even know if they want to go into remote sales. They're just like, I want to be able to make money online. What advice would you give to like that type of person?
So I'm gonna say from my perspective, like how I kind of got into this in the first place. Me personally, it was kind of I want to make money online. That's why I started digital marketing.
Right.
But I'm gonna be so serious. Like a lot of the people online are shitty people. They will lie to you and they will lie to your face. If you really want to make money, like go into remote high ticket closing. That's the only way for me anyway.
Mhm.
If you don't want to do like an agency, if you don't want to do Amazon FBA, if you want to grow, that's when you go into high ticket remote closing because you can start as a sales closer, you can move up to manager, you can move up and up and up. And it's not even like when you're taking calls, like you can't like break the sky with like the amount you're making. So
Right.
imagine making 10K a month and still being able to move up. Like that's actually crazy. That is wild.
And then another thing with like remote closing is it doesn't require, other than obviously investing in education, it doesn't require like startup capital like all these other online businesses do.
Exactly. That's another thing. And in general, if you just want to be on your own, I feel like introverts are kind of good for remote closing, but extroverts are too, because you don't have to be in front of a camera, like promoting things. Like you can just take a sales call, be yourself, move on to the next day, do the same thing. And you don't have to like talk to like 1,000 people. You can have just 8 people on a call with you. You don't have to do a seminar. You don't have to pay for anything else. You pay
Yeah.
to invest in yourself.
And
And just
that's
that
it.
one initial investment, that's going to cover your whole life. You're
Yeah.
set for life for real.
Facts. For real. Okay. So obviously, like, you joined another academy and now you're a part of HLC. What made you even enroll in HLC? Like what drew you into her last call?
I say you because I was joining a lot of your lives.
On TikTok?
And yeah, I
Okay.
was on a lot of your lives and I binge watched like your day in the life videos on TikTok as well. Like I
Yeah.
know I've watched all of them. I'm sure I've watched all of them. I scrolled to the bottom and I was like, because that kind of motivates me. Because when you see someone else that's doing something that you want to get into, it's kind of like I gotta get up, get my ass up, and go do shit. Like it's gonna push you.
Yeah.
And I was like seeing a lot of the wins on the channel as well. So it kind of motivated me as well. I was like, okay, since this isn't working out, like before the New Year's, I have to hop on something. I have to figure out something because I want to be somewhere by that time. So yeah.
And now you're working with a really, really big fish in the space. Like he is one of our boys. So like anytime he has questions about like how to scale his offer, like any systems and software that we're using, like any structural type of questions, he comes to us and like we're easily able to like help him fix it because we have the same offer. I know definitely like HLC is going to be the best resource for you
Yeah,
because
gold.
yeah, literally it's like a gold mine. But all right, I mean, I don't have any other questions for you. So if you have any questions for me, please ask away.
I did kind of write a couple questions down. I was gonna ask with like follow up
Yeah.
because like how would you approach follow? Would you be like, hey, how's it going? Or like would you be like, hey, here's a picture, like just drop a meme or something?
So, okay, one thing about follow-ups is the way that I do it is I always will pull from our conversation. So that's why, like, whenever you have a call with somebody, it helps a ton if you have like end of call notes or like if you fill out an end of call report. And then in my end of call report, I will like say the most random shit in there. I will put like has a dog named Ralph or something like that. So that when I go to follow up, instead of me sounding like a salesperson, I just sound like a human being saying like, hey, like what's going on with Ralph or whatever it may be. So I pull from my previous conversation. Now, a lot of times too, just because of like my closing style, because I am very personable, is whenever I hit them with like testimonials, is I'll send it to them and I'll be like, look, John, could have been you, just things like that. And then I'll just text
Yeah.
testimonial. So that's how I follow up is I very much so like take the friendly approach to things. You never want to say like, hey, just following up here. Hey, like, hope you're doing well. Just like, you never really want to do things like that. You kind of want to, the whole point of you following up is to just incite a response. So you can
Okay.
do something that has absolutely no correlation to your offer or anything like that, because the only thing that you're trying to do is incite a response.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How do you push for a PIF? That's another thing that I have because the way I structure mine is like, okay, if you don't want to do it and it's actually money, that's the issue. We're pretty flexible, so I can do a payment plan for you. But how
Right.
do you push for a PIF in that kind of situation?
So the way that like I push for a PIF is once I do my entire pitch and then I drop the price, I kind of just wait right there. Like I don't say anything until they give me an objection, right?
Hmm.
So let's say the price is $5,800 because the offer that I am on, our like main thing that we do sell is the $5,800 offer. So after I say like, yeah, you get blah, 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 like we can help you make 10K a month, it's just 5,800. And then typically from there, they will either do one of two things. They will either be like, okay, what are next steps? Or they will say, like, that's too much for me. I can't do it. So the way that I push for a PIF is I make it seem like that's the only option. It's 5,800. Now, obviously, I don't want to lose the sale if they're not able to give me the 5,800. So then we go into payment plans. But another thing too, to push for a PIF is by using like a buy now, pay later option. So I'm not sure if your client has buy now, pay later, but if they do, when you are trying to push for a PIF, and let's say you're talking to a lead where you know they don't have the 5,800 because maybe they put it in their application, or maybe like while you're talking to them, you discover that they don't have the funds necessary to get a paid in full. When you go to pitch the offer and you say, look, it's 5,800. However, this is what I would do if I were you. And then you say, we have a buy now, pay later option where you can put like $200 down and it's $200 a month. Because even though they're using buy now, pay later and it's not like a PIF, in the books, it's a PIF. Because that buy now, pay later company is going to pay your client out in full, and then your client is going to pay you out in full as if you did PIF them.
Okay.
Um,
And sorry, on your offer, you guys do like use WAP as the payment processor?
yes.
With the offer that I was on previously, it was like only Apple Pay. It was only through Apple Pay that they could do a buy now, pay later. So is that do you guys have an option for Android already?
So that's another thing too. It's like it depends on your client's offer. For us, we just have the buy now, pay later options like on our
Mm,
checkout page. So that's something that like I would ask your client now. But that is like the other way that you said your previous client, that is very, very common that it is set up that way. So I would just ask like your client now if he does have access to buy now, pay later in full.
okay. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, I already covered that
Okay.
because I wanted to make sure.
Yeah. You have great questions, by the way.
I'm sorry. Thank
No,
you.
they're so good.
I ask too much questions. Like when something pops in my head, I just write it down so I don't forget. I haven't seen anything on HLC for like a downsell as well. Have you
Mm,
ever done that before?
yes, I have done that. I actually had to do like a training for that, like on what is going on my sales team.
Mhm.
So the way that I downsell is this is again, this is like my last resort ever. Now, if I'm pitching a $5,800 ticket and my lead literally doesn't have the funds for it, they get denied buy now, pay later, and they can't abide to our payment plan. So that's another thing that you would have to ask your client too, like what is the minimum down that you would take? So for us, for example, the minimum down that we take is 2,000. So let's
Okay.
say lead gets rejected buy now, pay later. Lead can't pay me $2,000 and lead can't pay me $2,000 like anytime soon. Because that's another thing too. If they're like, okay, I don't have the money right now, but I can get it to you on Friday. Then from there, I'll be like, okay, well, what can you do today? Because I have to secure your contract. And then a lot of times they'll be like, I can do $500 today. The reason why you want to extract some sort of cash from them while you're on that call is because once they have some cash tied to you, they're going to come back. Versus if they're like, oh, I can do $2,000 on Friday. And then you're like, okay, cool, let's book a tie down for Friday. The chances of them not showing up on that tie down for Friday is very, very high. So you always want to extract cash if you can. Now, let's say they're like, okay, I really want to get into this, but I am not going to have that $2,000 for a long time. I don't have any money, yada, yada, yada. Then from there, I go, okay, So, I mean, what we could do, and what a lot of people in your situation end up doing, is we actually have another program where we can help you do da 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 da. And then with that program, it's only $500, whatever it may be.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how I downsell is if I can't like extract anything from them for my higher ticket offer, then I will go into, okay, so since, I know how badly you want to do this, obviously it would be best for you to at least get your foot in the door, at least get your foot wet, like at least let us start training you and coaching you so that eventually once you have been making money with this, we can put you in our higher ticket program. That's kind of the way that like I always present the downsell. It's like,
Okay.
should do something. It's better for you to do something than nothing at all.
Okay. Like let's say they don't have the full 5,800 and they can't do like a buy now, pay later. Do you guys offer like in-house payment plans? Let me start from there.
Yes, so that's why that's something that you will have to ask your client, but our in-house payment plan is only 3 installments. So it's 2,000 down, 2,030, and then 1,860. So if my like lead can't do that payment plan either, then I downsell.
Okay. And let me just check my notes again for my next question. I promise this is the last one. With like your setters, like what do you expect from them? Because I've never worked with a setter, but my other offer, I was the setter and the closer.
Okay.
So what do you expect from your setters?
These are such good questions. So our setters are like extremely trained. What we expect of our setters is to actually close us on the prospect that they set. So the reason I say that is because if a setter comes to me and they're like, "Hey, this is your call that I booked for you. The lead doesn't have that much money. They're giving me like short answers. Like, I'm not going to jump on that sales call excited to take the call. As a setter, you need to make your closer excited to take the call. I expect my setter to gather data from them, like gather how much it is that they're currently making, gather like what their occupation is, gather why they even are interested in the offer that my client is selling. So that's like all the information I expect my setter to collect for me. Another thing our setters collect for us as well is like credit score. The better your setter is, the easier the close is going to be. But yeah, I expect my setter to gather background, why, and pain, and then I go in and I take it from there. Now, obviously, on the sales call, I gather that information again, but the only reason why I'm like pulling that information again is because I want all of their pain, like the lead's pain, to be at the front of their mind. Because even though my setter already gathered all of it, now this lead is going to be a lot warmer whenever they come to talk to me because they have already like spilled their guts to somebody on our team.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. And like just based on like setting, do you like reach out to the prospect like a couple minutes before the appointment, or does your setter do that for you?
So we have our pre-call process like super dialed. Now let's say one of our setters sets an appointment and let's say it's tomorrow, right? As
Mhm.
soon as they set the appointment, they actually put myself and themselves and the prospect in an iMessage group chat. And like I use my personal phone number and everything with that too. They put us all in a group chat and then they have like a text message that they send. Like it's like a whole thing like, "Hey Alexis, this is John. John, this is Alexis. She's one of the advisors here with our program. This is the time of your call. This is the date of your call." And then they say, "Oh, Alexis, this is John. John's been working as a truck driver. He's really looking to start changing his life and making money online. I know that the two of you guys are going to have like a great connection, yada, yada, yada. John, if you need anything, let me know. Again, here's the link. Excited to work with you." And then that's the text that our setter sends. And then once our setter sends that, I send a voice message. And I send a voice message and I'm like, "Hey, John, this is Alexis. I'm so excited to finally be able to talk to you. I know a couple of years ago, I was in the exact same position as you, jumping into a group message like this. I was so confused. It's something that like was completely out of my comfort zone. However, now I have been successfully gone through the program. I'm one of the coaches within the program, but I'm super excited to be able to talk to you and see how we could possibly help. Talk to you soon." Now, the reason why I send voice messages is because they're more likely to open it. And then also it makes it more personable, like right off the gate. Because now it's like, oh, it's not an AI, it's not an automated message. It's actually like a voice message from a human being. And then a
Hmm.
lot of times, then they'll text back from there. Oh, another thing I say is like, if you happen to have like any questions that pop up prior to our call, feel free to drop them in this chat, or we can discuss it on the call as well. So then I'm already like sparking conversation with them. So this increases show rate a ton. And then when they get on the call with me, they already feel more open to me because we've already had prior conversation.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's all I've got for you right now.
Okay.
But thank you so much for even doing this.
No, of course. Thank you. And one thing that I will say is if you can keep us updated, like keep the chat updated on when you get your first deal, when you close your first PIV, anything like that, any like major or not even major, but just like just your experience overall. If you can share that in the achievements channel on WAP, because those messages, like y'all's messages in the achievements channel, it inspires so many of the other girls inside of her last call. I was actually talking to one of our other students, and they always say, like, oh, whenever we see other sisters doing well, like it makes us want to do well too. It makes us realize that it's real and it could happen for me too. So yeah, keep us updated. And then any questions it is that you have about your offer or anything like that, feel free to ask. Are you in the closers chat on WAP?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. But yeah, if you don't have anything else for me, thank you so much for hopping on. I think this was an amazing interview. You asked so many great questions. I am going to be posting this on YouTube. Is that cool with you?
Yeah,
I
sure.
can like blur out your name and everything too.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, okay, cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, keep us updated. I want to know how you're doing. And yeah, if you need anything from me, I will see you in the WAP chat.
All right, thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
girl.